besties, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kyan and this is Kyan is Booked. We are introducing episode 5 of On Wednesdays We Read Pink. So this is a series that I introduced in January of this year, 2025. And each month I read like 2 or 3 books that I check out from my library that have primarily pink covers. So some months it's been like the entire cover's pink. Other months it's been like I've chosen like all the accents or the symbols on the cover to be pink. So like I've been kind of trying to pick like different vibes, I guess you could say, like different kind of like options as we go through it. Last month, and I'll link it in the description box below, I read my first Talia Hibbert, absolutely loved it. And I read my first Grace Burrows, wasn't quite sure how I feel about it. Still obviously going to give her another opportunity. So like she's not down and out. I just like maybe didn't set myself up with the best first pick option, and that's totally on me. So in this episode, I thought it'd be fun to kind of continue the trend of reading like popular authors that I've never read from before that have pink covers. So we're actually going to read Emily Henry's Happy Place. I was going to try and read this in May, but like time just got away from me. But I am doing the Amazing Readathon this month as well. And one of the bonus prompts is to read a host 5-star, and a couple hosts actually have this for a 5-star. So I want to go ahead and get this read and log for points. So I'm pretty excited to read this one. Harriet and Wynne have been the perfect couple since they met in college. They go together like salt and pepper, honey and tea, lobster and rolls. Except now, for reasons they're still not discussing, they don't. They broke up 5 months ago and still haven't told their best friends. Which is how they find themselves sharing a bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friend group's yearly getaway for the last decade. Their annual respite from the world, where for one vibrant, blissful week they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood, and soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them most. Only this year, Harriet and Wynne are lying through their teeth while trying not to notice how desperately they still want each other. Because the cottage is for sale, and this is the last week they'll all have together in this place. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, and so they'll play their parts. Harriet will be the driven, surgical resident who never starts a fight, and Wynne will be the laid-back charmer who never lets the cracks show. It's a flawless plan if you look at it from a great distance and through a pair of sunscreen-smeared sunglasses. After years of being in love, how hard can it be to fake it for a week in front of those who know you best? Interesting. Okay, so my sister's predicting that I am going to enjoy this book, but she doesn't think it's going to be my favorite Emily Henry book of all time. So I'll definitely be back with an update. I'm trying to make a conscious effort to, in my vlogs, make sure that I'm stopping and like chatting. So if you see me looking a hot mess express when I update you, mind your business. I'll let you know how I'm feeling when I hit the 50% mark. But yeah, so this is from my library. You should have a library card. You can use Libby. You can use Hoopla. You can check out pretty much my library, and it's different obviously anywhere you go. My library allows 100 checkouts, and there are 22 libraries in the city. So if you want to borrow something that's not at your home library, you can request a hold, and then they will transfer it to your home library and you can just pick it up there. So I'm very lucky to live in a bigger city that has a really awesome system because it is so convenient. Just put things on hold, and then 2 days later, just go and pick it up. One thing, the only thing I really am like taken aback by right now is I just went and bought the new Talia Hibbert book because it was 112 week hold, and I was like, in 112 weeks, I'm not going to care. Like, by then I would have want to read it because, like, I'm not saying the hype's died down for Talia Hibbert, but I was like, so sometimes that's the only thing. Like, the newer books, you got to make sure you get in there early and put your hold in and such. But it's been really nice to, like, borrow a bunch of historical romance audiobooks. So, yeah, definitely support your library. Definitely check books out there. I have like literally I'm looking up here at like my library shelf loaded down. I'm about to make a drop at the library and pick up another round because I have a lot of vlogs I'm doing over the summer. I'm actually really excited because I'm gonna have a series ready to go for when I go back to school in the fall. But yeah, so we're gonna start off with Happy Place, and I will be back when I have an update for you. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so this isn't anything fancy. Sorry, I went to my friend's pool today and then went to Pilates and then might have dozed a little bit and we just woke up, and I realized I can't actually finish reading Happy Place because I haven't updated y'all. And I'm trying to find a way to say this, like, as respectfully as possible. I am not enjoying this book. Now, are we going to finish it? For sure. We're about halfway through. And I think, because I texted with my sister about it, because I've never read Emily Henry before. I've never read Emily Henry before, right? And I was like, and I've held off on her because she is so popular. And I was like, because if you've been around, then you know I'm always scared of like liking something or not liking something that's hyped. I always get really worried about it. Not that I should really care about it, but that's not the point. But Emily Henry is really popular, and I don't want to like be the only hater out there, right? Especially since my sister and I have I want to say very similar taste in books, but we do enjoy some of the same things and some of the same authors. Okay, let's just put it like that. Men, not so much. That's a whole nother story. Anyways, I think my main beef with this book is the fact that it is, so they haven't even gotten married yet, so it can't even be like a marriage in crisis or anything like that. So, I mean, they've been together for 8 years, right? And she can't see past, I guess, her own ambitions, and he got upset because he wasn't coming. I actually don't even know why they broke up. I'm just making guesses. I'm halfway through the book. I don't know why they broke up. I don't know why they're still broken up, because they both are so extremely attracted to each other and still want to be together. So I don't know what our problem is. And we have been forced proximity to this cottage with the friend group for various reasons, but still have yet to talk about why we broke up 4 months ago. And is there anything we could do to change why we broke up 4 months ago? And I think that's my biggest problem, is that, like, we haven't even talked, like, nobody's talked about it. Nobody's had a conversation. She is just in her head making up all these excuses, because we're only getting it from his, like, her perspective. So I don't really know how he feels, but also, too, like, all the vibes he's giving us, he still cares for her at a very, like, deep level. So I'm not in crisis. But I'm really bummed out that more than likely the first Emily Henry I read is going to be a 3-star. I think my sister told me I need to read Funny Story next. Or Book Lovers. I don't know. So, let me be clear. I'm a gamer. I'm going to finish. If this is your favorite book, I'm really sorry. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe I will be less mad by the time I end it. But right now, I just don't understand why we broke up. Why we haven't talked about it. And the flashbacks are killing me. Like, going back to how we got together and then yanking us back into the present where we hate each other. Or, like, not even really hate each other. Just, like, I hate the fact we're not together type deal. Anyways, so that's my little update. My favorite thing about Belle is the way that she yawns. Like, she, too, did not just take a nap with me. And that she has had, like, a really tough day. She's been through a lot. As I ugly yawn on camera. Anyways, I'm going to go finish this. And I will report back with my thoughts and my feelings. Because, I don't know. We're at a solid 3 right now, though. So keep that in mind when I come back. We meet again at night in my room. So I'm doing my skincare routine, and I realized that I need to put my forehead patch on, but I can't do that because I needed to update you guys. So I finished Happy Place, and I've been kind of ruminating on how I wanted to have, what I want to say. Because last time I checked in with you guys, I was not enjoying the book, and it wasn't my favorite book. Like, this is not going to end up my favorite read of June, but as the book progressed, it got to the points of the story that, like, I wanted to get to. Like, you have Harriet and you have Wen, and they've had this relationship for 8 years, and it all starts to fall apart. And then now they're back together with all their best friends, and they just are ignoring it and like not talking about it, and still haven't talked about it. And it was really starting to like mess with me that I was halfway through this book and these two grown people hadn't had an actual conversation about how they were feeling yet. Like, I think that's the biggest beef I have with this book, is I wanted them to have a conversation, and I wanted them to actually speak to each other about why they broke up. Because Harriet thought it was because some guy, some resident at her job kissed her, and then she calls Win and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like he kissed me but I didn't kiss him back. And then Win breaks up with her. So like in her mind, she's been ruminating over this, and he's like, no, like that's not why I broke up with you. And the reason why he broke up with her was absolutely valid, because I understand, like, I'm trying not to spoil it because like you guys are gonna find out about it as well if you read this book. At least I hope you're still gonna read it, because like this might be your favorite Emily Henry. Like, you never know. And like that's what I like about reading. Like, yeah, we all have like our favorites, but like we all have our favorites as well. So when they finally have like the adult conversation, I was begging them to have, because like I wanted them to get back together. I truly believed, like through their interactions and like the friendships with everybody else and like the flashbacks that we were getting of their previous relationship, that these two were meant to be together. And I couldn't figure out why they weren't. But there were a lot of factors, like the death of his dad, his mom having Parkinson's, her being so devoted to her job, him not wanting to be a bother, her not wanting to be a bother, like both of them coming off as like not caring when inside they're both like falling apart because they care so much. So I appreciated the fact that we finally got, I guess, to the point of Happy Place, right? I just like, I kind of wanted a little bit more of that like earlier on, but this being a standalone and this following a group of friends that have like known each other since college, like it would make sense that we would need some additional time to like get to know them, to like understand the dynamic between the groups. And so I appreciated that as well, that like we got the build up and that we got to really understand all the couples and really understand like where Win and Harriet fit into it. I will say that I just wish that there wasn't so much like pushing aside or like ignoring of what the conversation needed to be. However, I completely understand, because like Harriet very much is somebody who like doesn't want to make waves and like doesn't want to make people feel bad. And so here she is like in a situation where like she's hanging out with her best friends, but she doesn't want to ruin everybody else's weekend. So she would rather pretend to be still in love with her fiance, who she's in love with, rather than just say like, hey, my whole life's imploding. I'm having like a huge issue trying to figure out like what I want to do, and I feel like a failure. Oh, and Win doesn't love me anymore. So she pretends everything's fine and she acts like everything's fine and she pushes her own emotions off, which I get it. I totally understand like where she's coming from that aspect, because I have a really bad habit of doing that as well. However, I just wanted her at some point to like just get mad enough to be like, I don't understand why you don't love me anymore. Like I wanted all of that to boil up eventually. And I feel like it did. It just boiled up like too late. Like we were literally close to 200 pages and she still thought that he cared about that raggedy behind resident. Like that was the part that was sticking to me. I was like, girl, he don't care about that man, because he knows he's going to be in love with you for the rest of his life. And like Win, we love a man who falls first. We love a man who's down bad for our heroine. We love a man who like is willing to love her for the rest of her life and let her go, because he would never want to hold her back. So that's why it gets a 4-star rating, because we got to the point, maybe a little late, but we got to the point. And I really did love Win, and I loved how like patient he was with Harriet, and I love how like I loved their dynamic, and I loved how well he knew her. like how much he understood when she said this or when she acts like this, like she truly means X. So I love that dynamic between the two of them. I don't think Happy Place is going to end up being my favorite Emily Henry, and I think that's okay because this is my first one, so I have her whole backlist to read. I am excited to like dive more into her backlist and find my favorite Emily Henry because I feel like it's out there, and I feel like based off of how she wrote this and like the dynamics and like the friendships and the relationship that I really like her writing. I just struggled because I just wanted someone to be like, hey, this is why we fell apart, but like, I'm trash for you. And I wanted it to come a little sooner. However, I understood why it did it. So like I said, I am excited. This looks like, I think this is her fourth one because Book Lovers, People We Meet on Vacation, and Beach Read were published before this one. I think my sister said Book Lovers might be my favorite. I don't know, because I think she's read all of Emily Henry's. Either way, I believe this was a solid read. Yeah. So next up, I've been trying to figure out what book I wanted to include also in this episode because I want like at least 2. And if I'm able to pull off 3, like that's cool. If I'm not, no stress. So Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert will be our second book. I'm a huge Talia Hibbert fan. I have read the first 2 books in the Brown Sisters series. I still have to read the third one. I've read whatever series starts off with Untouchable. I've read that series, and then I'm reading a few of her standalones now as well. So this one is actually, it's a young adult, and I'm really hoping that I like it because like young adults like hit or miss for me right now. Because sadly, I'm not a young adult anymore. Who knew? So this follows our 2 characters. I don't know their names right now, but next time I update you, I will hopefully remember them. So they are enemies from my understanding, and they both apply for like the same scholarship or the same grant in order to like go to their next level of study and decide to like team up because they're, I guess I think the best way to explain it would be like a survival of the fittest type situation. And so they decide to team up and work together. And I'm assuming that's going to be like the beginning of their love story. So I'm really excited. I have it on audio. I'm really coming up against the deadline. I don't know, like I've known about this deadline all month and I've just been lollygagging. But also too, I think that I was kind of struggling with Happy Place for a bit. So that's probably why we were feeling the way we're feeling. But I'll be back around the 50% mark to give you guys like an update, see how I'm feeling, see what's working. I am hoping to enjoy this one because like I said, tragically, I'm not a young adult anymore. So I'm going to go put my forehead patch on and Belle and I are going to go to sleep because we have another busy day tomorrow. So I will chat with you later. Okay, besties, we're back with an update. I just want to clarify, you guys are seeing, this will go up the week I went and saw Avril Lavigne and Simple Plan in concert. So that's why I still have the pink hair, because I literally went last night and I just haven't felt like doing anything with this because it was so hot. So like I sweated and I'm just like, oh my gosh, my hair is just a mess. But anyways, we're here to talk about Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. And I am this far in, so I'm on page 141, which is chapter 8, which I'm thinking is probably the midway point because it looks like there's 315 pages. So first off, I want to start off with the fact that like Talia Hibbert can literally make me like anything. Okay? The last book I read by her was not Chloe Brown. It was his second book in the Brown Sisters series. I still have to read the third book. And this is after I binged the other series before that, the one I was talking about that starts with Untouchable, right? So this is a YA, and this follows Bradley and Celine, and they used to be best friends, right? And then somewhere around the age of 14, Bradley became really popular. Celine was dubbed as like a weird kid. They had a slight falling out. I'm still kind of like unsure about what happened, but Celine seems to be holding a grudge because, because he fell in with the popular crowd, tried to bring her along. She wasn't fitting in. So like his feedback to her was just like, well, if you stop doing this, or if you stop doing this, or you started doing this. And she's like, no, like, I don't want to have to change who I am. Like, you sold out, essentially. And Celine's very principled. Like, she's the girl, like, she's taking philosophy, and she likes to argue with people and rage against the machine. I mean, she's literally in a camp right now, run by a very, very famous humanitarian, I believe, is who this person is. A humanitarian lawyer who literally is like fighting against the machine and trying to save the planet and such, right? So this is very much how she sees herself. Like, she's very assertive, like she's very, believes very deeply in like the things that she says and the things that she does, which in turn gets her called like a know-it-all and a bitch and all those types of things, right? So, you know, like the strong, independent mentality of a female at that age, she is 17. And a female of this age being like assertive and, you know, has the know-it-all personality, when really like she's just highly intelligent and knows what she wants, right? So Bradley plays football, which in the UK is soccer. So I do want to make that for my American viewers. And as, you know, somebody who is American, I was like, oh, right, no, they're talking about football. So he plays football and he's very popular. And it's almost like Celine holds it against him when really, you know, he has OCD and he's been in like years of therapy, and he's gotten to like a much better place where he's like able to manage it better, but he almost manages his weirdness and his OCD by like overcompensating in his personality. So like going out of his way to like make himself appear normal when really he is trying to manage these other things. And I think that's where Celine gets the perception that he is actually like trying to change who he is, when really he's trying to offset the OCD and trying to offset how much people notice that like he has the OCD issue. Now, when they were friends at 14, he was still very much struggling with the OCD, and like she was in a way helping manage. So like if she like taps him on one side of his body, like on the arm, then like she has to tap him on the other arm type thing. So like there's a scene in here where she does that, and he goes, oh no, like I've actually figured out how to manage that. And Celine's like, no way, like that's so great. So you can kind of see that like previous friendship. But our girl Celine is so stubborn. And I like that about her. I really, really do. But like, her foot is on this boy's neck. Like, he's a 14-year-old boy trying to manage a severe case of OCD and trying to have people like not view him based off his OCD. Like, yeah, you're right, he did mess up. But like, no quarters given by this lady. Celine's like, absolutely not. Like, you could have done this differently. Now, is she wrong? No, she's not wrong. But it's like, I'm not laughing like, haha. I'm just like, dang, like she's not giving him like, and the way she views it is he's the golden boy and like everybody loves him and he gets away with all this kind of stuff. And in actuality, like when we get his point of view, because it's dual, so we get it from both, he's just like, I was just trying to figure out how to survive. Like, he lives in the master bedroom in his house. He has an older sister, a younger brother. Both his parents are still together. He lives in the master bedroom because his OCD got so incredibly bad sharing a bathroom with his younger brother, who is an legitimate snob. His room smells. He doesn't flush the toilet. He doesn't clean up after himself. That like Bradley was like legitimately going insane. And so his parents gave up the master suite to him so that he could have things orderly. He could have a space of his own and he could try to manage his OCD. So I see it from both perspectives. Like, I completely understand, like, Celine was hurt. Like, she was like, I didn't want to have to change myself or anything like that. And at the same time, she's finding out, here's the wild thing, she's finding out her dad had a second family. His mistress gave birth to twins, and he was divorcing her mom. At this same time, her and Bradley had the falling out. So here we are, 3.5, 4 years later. They're in like their last year of high school, if I'm understanding this correctly. They're like, we're in our final year. So that's what I'm taking it, because they're talking about going to uni. So they're in their final year, and they have signed up for, what do you call it? Her name is Catherine, and she's basically hosting this program for people who are interested in like working in law, or like just really working in anything like humanitarian, which could be a plethora of things, right? And if you make it through the program and you're one of the top 3 finalists, you get a full ride scholarship to uni, as long as it's like within Britain, is from my understanding, if I remember it correctly. And accolades, because like she's very well known in her field, and to have like a recommendation from her or to have gone through her program is like a leg up when it comes to like being hired. So in a twist of fate, Bradley and Selena are both going through this program. And Bradley, like, they had kind of like a conversation about everything, and he's like, listen, like, if you're never gonna forgive me, or like never just gonna let it go, like, that's fine, but like, can we just call a truce? Because like, I can't manage the fact that like I'm in the straight up wilderness. This is a survival program in nature, and he has OCD, right? He's managing it a lot better, but he still has OCD. So he's like, I'm in the straight up wilderness right now, fighting for my life. Like, I can't be arguing with you at the same time. And Celine's like, okay, like, true, fair. But I also, on the flip side, like, because like they've kind of teamed up, but I also like it because Celine's actually starting to make friends, and like getting to know the people within the program. And it's kind of nice to see like another side of her, somebody who's like not trying to fit in, but like trying to get to know other people. So I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it reads YA because it is YA. And I think it's just so wholesome, and it's just so cute. It is unfairly cute, if we're gonna be like punny here. And like Bradley, like she touched his shoulder or something the other day, and he was like, and it was his perspective, and it's like, oh, like, why is my skin tingling? Why is my heart beating fast? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're both kind of, and she's kind of viewing him of like, why does he have to be so attractive? Like, he's taller than me now, because she always used to be taller than him, and then he had his growth spurt. So like, we're slowly starting to see them like viewing each other as more than just like enemies, and it's happening in such like a cute, wholesome way that I'm enjoying this so much. I'm so happy that on a whim I decided to pick this up, and I decided to read this book because Talia Hibbert has literally never let me down, and this just reaffirms it, because I haven't read like a true YA romance in like so long that I was like actually worried that maybe I wouldn't enjoy this. But it's funny, and they're so witty, and it's just so wholesome and so cute. So I'm really enjoying this, as you can tell. And like I said, I'm about halfway through, and I'll come back with like my thoughts at the end. And I'm not necessarily like having a lot of commentary on the romance, because like I said, like that's not like the main focus as of now. Like, I think that will start to kind of ease in to that being kind of a big deal, but I'm really just liking like the character development and like that really like honest conversation that the two of them had. And the representation in this book is absolutely wonderful. Like 2 Black main characters, one who is a very popular main character, plays football, has OCD, considers himself to be bisexual. I don't know how Celine feels. I think like at one point she's just like, ugh, like she made like, honestly, it translates to like, I'm tragically like attracted to men, which felt. And I really just like absolutely love the, we're gonna excel and we're going to rage against the machine, because Celine's just like, oh, you don't want to go to, is it Cambridge? And he's like, why would I want to go somewhere and be one of 6 Black people? And she's like, well, we have to change the narrative at some point. And he was just like, and he wanted to argue with her, but like you knew he couldn't. So having a time with this, like I said, Talia Hibbert, gosh, she is brilliant. I love her so much, and I'm really enjoying this. So I'll be back. Obviously I'll be back at the end, so clearly they will be together at that point, and I'm very interested to see how she makes that happen. Depending on how it happens, I probably don't want to spoil it, but you never know, like I can do crazy things. So I'll catch you in just a little bit. Live from the ending of this book. I did tab 2 parts because I want to read a portion to you because I feel like it really kind of helps supports this. All right. Absolutely adorable. The push and pull between the two of them. Selena's absolutely terrified of commitment, which makes sense because, you know, her dad had that second family and left her. So that totally, absolutely makes sense. At a certain point, it is even about okay, I can't ever remember the name of what they do. Breckspear. I'm so sorry. I know you can hear Belly like yawning. She just woke up from her 5th nap of the day. I just say that because I'm jealous. If I slept right now, I wouldn't like be able to sleep tonight. Okay, I can't find it. Okay, anyways, it doesn't even become about the expedition anymore. It really does become about the two of them, like, trying to accept the fact that like the life plans that they have for themselves is different. And I can definitely apply that to my own life right now. Not like in a, let's just say like where I am in life right now is not at all where I thought I was going to be. And sometimes I like find myself being like, wow, like I just thought things were going to be different. So I found it really interesting that this kind of really focused on, granted, like kids are about to go into uni, trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, but they're also like, I've always wanted to do this. This has always been my dream. And now it's not my dream and it's not what I want to do anymore. And how do I tell my parents and how do I tell my friends? And like, everyone's been expecting this of me. And like, how do I disappoint them? And also too, like really just coming to grips with things that have been affecting, right, their lives. So there actually siblings came into play here. Brad has a younger brother named Mason, and Selena has an older sister named Giselle. And Giselle and her were having a conversation about like what she wanted to do in life. And she goes, even if neither of us ever did anything interesting in our entire lives, it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't need to be special or significant to have value. You're important always, and people either see that or they don't. They either love you or they don't. Dad's messed up, Celine. They should have given him an unfit for purpose stamp as a parent, but he is who he is. And this was like during the conversation where Celine was trying to convince her older sister that like she wants to study corporate law, and her sister's like, no, you don't. Oh my gosh. Belle has me yawning now. Anyways, and so Giselle's like, no, you don't want to study corporate law. Like, that's not what you've been interested in. You've always been interested in, like, making changes and being a humanitarian and, like, thinking about people. Like, why would you go into corporate law? And really, like, Celine's ambitions were to win the scholarship, go work for the second best firm because her dad's partner at the best one, take the second best to the first best, and then throw all of her accomplishments in her dad's face. And Giselle's like, you have value, even though, like, he's a complete trash parent. So I really did like that, like, sisterly moment. And then there's a point in time too where like Brad has to confront something like really difficult with his parents, and his younger brother is like, yeah guys, he's always hated that, like, you didn't realize it. Of course he doesn't want to do that for the rest of his life. And it's just like everybody kind of turns and looks at him like, oh, we didn't know that, like, you'd be the one coming in to like defend your brother. So I really like that. But in the first clip, I was trying to explain to you like how she looks at Brad. Bradley is sitting at top table as always, and he's flawless as always, with his twist shining and his clothes immaculate but effortless and adorable, objectively speaking, I mean. Furrow between his eyebrows as he highlights the crap out of what appears to be a history textbook. And it's just like, that's like the little things that like she views him as, is like, oh, well, like he's perfect, obviously. And he does this clearly. Oh my gosh. This is annoying. So yeah, no, they literally went from enemies to friends to finally being together. And I really too liked how like their two best friends knew that they belonged to, like everybody knew that they belonged together, and they were just waiting for them to finally get together. And it was just so cute. I really enjoyed this. Like Talia Hibbert really made me enjoy a YA for the first time in a while. I am gonna give it 5 stars. I really am. Because I obviously wouldn't rate it on the smut factor because there is none. There's a lot of kissing, and we love that for them. But I'm really just giving it 5 stars on the basis of the fact that like I felt like this book made me feel things, and it made me like relate, because like it's hard to relate to young adult when you're an adult now. And I really related to the like, my life doesn't look the same way. Like, I don't want to disappoint people. Feelings are hard to talk about. Like, we don't want to disappoint our parents, no matter who our parents are. So, like, kind of like the overarching themes of the book, I really felt myself being like, yeah, dude, I totally get it. And I just had a good time. Like, I read this in one sitting. And I really just like overall enjoyed the story, and I just enjoyed the two, like our male main character Brad and our female main character Celine, and like their dynamic, and when push came to shove, like them willing to have a conversation and like take a chance with each other. So actually I have Happy Place right here, so I can go ahead and do the outro to this video. All right, so in this vlog we read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and we gave this one 4 stars. And we read Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert, and we gave this one 5 stars. So this was a really solid vlog, especially coming off of last month's one. Yeah, anyways. So this is a really solid vlog. Both obviously checked out from my library. Shout out to my library because they are absolutely amazing and we love them. But yeah, so these are the 2 books that we read. High ratings for both. Thank you so much for coming along on this adventure with me. I'm having a really great time using my library and going in and literally picking books based off of like pink covers, and discovering that I do like YA written a certain way, and I may or may not like Emily Henry. So yeah, this was a really fun vlog. Thank you so much for coming along. Be sure to like and subscribe if you had a good time, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.